seagulls came up pretty much as soon as I started working there, but I've always headed out for lunch whenever I can, and there always seems to be a few birds around looking for a crust. When I was down this end, there was the ducks. I suppose I have always liked birds, but animals in general, dogs, cats, got 3 cats at home. Yeah, it was nice to have them come in. It is nice to be able to stand on a car park and see them coming from blocks around. It's quite neat. I suppose a couple of months for the first 1 or 2, and then once 1 or 2 come in, the rest will realise there's something there, so you get a gradual increase. And after 6 months, probably had about 20, and that seems to be about average through the year. Winter times, no one else is feeding them. You can have up to 60, which is a fair few birds, especially when they all want the same crust. But it's self-limiting because I don't have like loaves of bread for as many that come. So a lot of time if there's a flock there, some of them will go hungry. They won't keep coming back. It's just the one thing. Getting close, fast enough to push everyone else away. Over 10 years now. Yeah, so some of them have grown up with me, which is why they're so trusting. They recognise me, they'll come down, they'll realise I'm not going to eat them. They'll come up very close. Lunchtime company. Well, a bit of life. It's nice to see the same ones day after day, especially the little ones that grow up. They can be, they can be noisy, but they can be quite amusing in their behaviours. Whatever I've got usually. Being seagulls, they're scavengers, so they'll take a fair bit, and it's usually part of my bread. I normally have I make a loaf every day, and I have most of that for myself, and what's left over, the seagulls get. They seem to enjoy it. Yeah. Well, I started wearing the hat because it was sitting on my head. And they've got little claws on those webbed feet. And of course, in the wind, they'll be scrabbling away. Yeah. Well, there's still lunchtime, I'll sit on my knees and I'll get little scratch marks because they'll hop on, push each other off. And, knees aren't so delicate as my top of my head. Probably after 4 or 5 months, the first one hopped on the knee, and then of course as you're walking to your spot, they'll follow you down, so they'll sit on your shoulder. If there's 2 on your shoulders, there's only one other spot. They do recognise the hat too. If I was wearing this one, they wouldn't be quite so enthusiastic initially until they realised it was me under the hat. Like I said, with some of the adults, if they're healthy, it's really hard to tell them apart sometimes. They'd have to have a little quirk of behaviour or a handicap to be certain that was the same bird each time. But there's definitely a group just based on they're waiting. And they come in as soon as they see me. That wouldn't be the case with just a random bird parked on a building. Well, there's one, he's missing both legs, both feet. So he's on little pegs, basically. He does quite well, but because he's on little pegs, he can't sort of walk in and push the other ones across to get across. So he knows, like if I give him a wee nod, he'll come in and fly past while I hold up a crust for him. So he'll time his flights, which is quite neat to know. You know, he'll get a wee nod, he'll come in, grab, go off and eat it by himself, then come back in around the edge of the flock, and I'll give him another wee nod, and he'll come in again, which is neat. And then there's one, I think it's a fella, just from his behaviour, but he was a baby when I first started feeding him, and now when he lands on my hand he's heavier than the other birds because he's had this constant little food supply all his life. I know, so it's nice to have a regular come back. I got one well, I suppose he's a teenager now. He'll come up and park himself on my elbow, and if he doesn't get a crust, he'll give me a pick on the elbow. And he'll keep doing that till he gets a crust, a little bugger, which is quite funny. Some of them have, in the past, they've had cord or something caught around their leg, and on occasion I've been able to get it off before it's done any damage, but usually, if I can't, then it stays on there a bit tight, and they'll atrophy a wee bit and end up in a little stub, so they'll hop around like I've got a wee cane. There's a couple that come in for that, and I recognise those as well. So kind of that wee pulley thing. If only you got in earlier, I kind of feel guilty because I didn't manage to catch him. And so they've got that for the rest of their life, really. But they do okay. They've still got their wings. As long as they've got their wings, they come out alright. They get some special attention. The damaged birds. I've seen a couple with crossbows through the gullet. One of them actually survived, but he had a hole in his gullet, so he'd eat and some of it would spill out. But it closed up over time. And then I mentioned the cord around the leg. I see that on a regular basis, although for some odd reason not this last winter really. But almost every summer you get the young birds along the harbour with the fishing nets and lines. They'll get tangled, but they won't get tangled enough to be trapped. They'll fly in with lines around their legs. Most of the time, if I get them early, I can cut it's the thread, cut them off. But sometimes the thread's gone right into the fish, and I don't have anything that's I need to be scalable to get in. Without damaging them further. I've taken a few to the vet that way. But they're pretty robust orphans. If I get them quick enough, and it's not actually buried itself into the leg, cut them free, set them loose. That's probably the best thing for them, because actually keeping them overnight in a vet is very stressful for them anyway.